Hey there guys, and welcome to another episode of Let's Speedrun Link's Awakening DX 100%. So in the last episode we made it over here to Dungeon 5, and in this episode we are going to be taking it on. One thing I just want to note really quick before we get started with this episode is that I am actually going to... I said that I was going to be using save states to talk about the differences between Red Tunic and Blue Tunic in this dungeon, and I've decided to kind of separate that out into another video entirely, because there are only a couple of spots in this dungeon that are really any different, and even then, the differences are pretty small, to be honest. So yeah, so I'll be uploading a separate video on that, but without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So, to start off, I personally don't skip this text by bringing up the pause menu. I like to boot dash over to the left over here, get a damage boost, boot dash over here, then I change over to my sword. But you can just cancel it with your sword and walk over normally. That's also perfectly fine. You want to charge up a spin slash here, and there are a couple of different forms of RNG that this beginning room can take. It mostly has to do with the Helmosaur right in the middle of the room, right there. It just depends on which direction he moves initially. So that can potentially be one of the worst forms of RNG. If you get to him fast enough, then it won't be a problem. This one is fine. This is one of the few differences between the Red and Blue Tunic. That Helmosaur, you only have to hit him once with the Red Tunic. You have to hit him twice with the Blue Tunic, but it ends up making a pretty small difference, to be honest. So there is the far RNG. If I had just gone a couple more pixels to the left before slashing... Ah, there. And that is the best RNG. If he walks towards you, straight towards you, and you time your jump and spin slash correctly, you can just kill him instantly. And at that point, if you have a room like that, then the difference between the Red and the Blue Tunic in this room is negated because they're the same speed. Because the way you approach this room is pretty much the same with Red and Blue Tunic. It's just how you react to the Helmosaur that's any different. So yeah, that's pretty much that. That room can be tricky because Helmosaurs are annoying. But with that said, then we go through here. Obviously, move the chains using the pulley, or just by staying on the blocks for a certain amount of time. You don't need to stand on them for very long, like this first set, and this set even less so. You just need to move a little bit on this one, or stay a little bit on that one, and you can just jump over this fourth one entirely. Theoretically, you can actually just hold left the entire time, but that makes this a little bit more precise than I like. So, with that said, we just want to come down here, break all these blocks in pretty much the most efficient way possible, get the key, save and quit. And over here, jump up, get this damage boost again. You want to slash this Keese out of your way, because he can damage you back and waste a little bit of time. So this is one of the only other kind of differences between Red and Blue Tunic. With Red Tunic, you would approach this room a little bit differently, but it's a fractional second difference. So here you just want to come up north, avoid door lag, and then release a spin slash, and that kills everything pretty much instantly. Here you want to charge a spin slash here, get this guy into the upper left-hand corner, go bring out your bomb arrows. What a lot of people do is they'll bomb arrow twice and then drop a bomb to save an arrow, but in this category, your arrow count isn't an issue, so you can just use 3 bomb arrows all at once. Like, the timing really doesn't matter very much. I guess one thing I should also mention is that if you time your inventory screen, not here, There, if you time it like that, like as the doors are opening, you can save a couple frames because you avoid door lag while you change your weapons, but for me, I can't time it out very well, as you could very plainly see. So I just kind of avoid that. So here, it's pretty simple puzzle. Just press the switch, try and kind of come down here to avoid that guy. Okay, so here we have an audio cue that you want to listen to. So if the boss music, you split it up into like 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, right? Split it up into beats like that. So we want to drop a bomb in the upper left-hand corner at a particular point in the music. And here's the audio cue. It's 1 there. So you just want to drop it. It's not horribly precise, but it's pretty much the second set of 16th notes. Ba-da-ba-da, 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 right there. Pretty much on your second measure, so to speak. So there, and then spin slash him into the corner. It doesn't really matter which direction he goes. You just need to be able to react to it. Know whether or not your bomb placement is going to like put him off into the middle of the room, so you don't accidentally drop a bomb back in the corner again, and then he's not there. So, again, not super precise, but something you want to keep an eye out for. So, yeah. Alright. And then we can do the same thing here, which I didn't do very well, but you want sword and feather here. You can just... I don't know why that hasn't been working for me lately. It's kind of weird. What you should do is not that. Whatever. Basically, the optimal way to do that is you're holding left, and then you jump as the block starts pushing to the left, and you hold up left, and you just avoid the spark. But for some reason, that hasn't been happening. So you slash these guys to get them out of your way. Get here to kind of poke at that Zol as he jumps up. And now we basically do exactly the same thing as before. Okay, and there you go. And so, yeah. Not even going to try for the door lag thing. So here now we want to wall clip in here. And one thing that's important about this super jump, this isn't like a really big deal of a super jump, but one thing you want to try and do is make sure you like press up against this wall before you super jump, because you see how I kind of was in the middle of that block for a second? Well, if I were to not be pushed against the wall, I would have to push that block, and it's not a big deal. It just wastes a couple of, like, just half a second. So that is that super jump. Now we are going to be going into here. We want to wait a split second before we jump into the water. You can get a damage boost here off of these bloopers. I'm not the best at it. But basically, what you want to do here is go down left. Actually, another thing important to note is actually your position in the water actually determines your kind of horizontal position once you actually enter the water. So since I was like at the lower right hand corner there, I was way over to the right and I wasn't able to make it to the bloopers in time. So just something to note. So that is not what the damage boost looks like. I'm trying to show it off as best I can, but there we go. That's pretty much what the damage boost looks like. It's, you know, it's a fractional time save. Not a big deal, but something I figure is at least worth showing off. And up here, you can actually avoid these bloopers by jumping over them, and then we do the same thing that you did in Dungeon 4 before the boss fight to kind of just instantly drop into the water. So it looks something like this. Jump over them, jump again, holding down right. Make sure you're not wall clipped right down here, or else you will lose time because you'll just be stuck in the wall. So coming up here is one of the harder tricks in this dungeon. One of the harder tricks in the game, if I'm being honest. So this is early D5 boss key. This is a very, very precise jump, and it's super precise in, well, super precise might be overstating it, but it's tough. It's tough. So if you have trouble with this, don't feel bad. Basically, you need your position to be somewhat precise. You want Link's right foot to be in line with about this visual cue right here. So I usually line that up manually. That's just kind of a personal preference sort of thing, but one thing that a lot of people will do to line up is they'll just bonk against this wall, and then you can see my position is good. So you can do it manually, you can do it using a bonk, it's really personal preference. And then the thing that makes this jump a little bit tough is that you have such a short amount of time to jump using your Pegasus boots. So hopefully I can demonstrate this properly. I cannot. So that's the other issue, is if you line up a little bit too far back and then jump too soon, like you need to jump basically right about here, like within a couple pixels of the edge. Otherwise you won't get enough distance because your speed isn't high enough. That's why in any % no save and quit, this is a lot easier because you'll have piece of power, or ideally you'll have piece of power, and that movement speed buff will help a lot. But in save and quit categories, we don't have that. So there we go. That's what it looks like. It's not like ultra precise, but it's still something that could very easily give you some trouble. So let's see. I guess. One last piece of advice. I try to... You need to hold down, because once you clear the gap, you're going to be like right here, and if you don't hold down, you'll just fall into the pit. You need to hold down to actually walk onto the ledge. But one thing I would definitely recommend is do not hold down until you're in the air. If you hold down before you're in the air, you have a chance to just do something like that and just fall if you don't time it properly. Whereas if you try to do it early that way, you'll never fall into the pit. You'll just get infinite tries. So that way you're not going to be wasting a bunch of health and putting yourself in a scary amount of or a scary health situation. So, oh, I jumped a little early there. So early again. Oh, see that? I didn't follow my own advice. As you can see, it can be a little tricky. It's not that tricky, I'm just not very good at it, to be totally frank. So anyway, once you get that jump, you just grab the boss key, save and quit, go back to the beginning, get another little damage boost, which you might want to consider not doing if you don't have the blue tunic, because you might end up taking a bunch of damage in this dungeon if you have red tunic on, or you could potentially if you damage boost around too much. So just keep an eye on your health situation. That damage boost it's fun, but it's not completely necessary. So anyway, same thing as before. Oh, except you want to actually release your spin slash. So we go through this room exactly like before, except this time we're going over to the left. And you can spin slash him pretty much anywhere, because we are going to be saving and quitting out of here. So, and this one actually, timing does matter. So if you can get him into a corner and just really quickly drop 3 bomb arrows into him, then he'll die quicker. So this one, timing actually does matter. And here I do a little bit of a weird menu, like that. And basically, what that does for me is it gets my shield. It makes it so that my hook shot is going to be in this slot right here. So then once everything is said and done, we'll have, our 6 most common items, and then you'll have hookshot and boomerang right here. And then powder and shield and magic rod right there. So I prefer to have like everything, except for these first 4 slots, I like to have everything having its own personal space. So, and then the important thing about this menu, even if you don't do it that way, is I think that it's important to have an empty slot on one of your buttons, so that way when the hookshot goes into your inventory screen, you'll be able to see. Because if I saved and quit right now, I would have to come back and fight this boss again, and that's not a good thing. So you want to wait just a split second after this text box until you see the hookshot in your inventory to bring up the save and quit screen. So you can do that kind of by feel if you just have sword and feather or like bomb arrows equipped, but I think it's a lot safer, and it's also just as efficient to just leave space because your next equip is going to be hookshot and feather anyway. So small little optimization, as with many things in this game, but oh, missed the damage boost, but got that one. So here you can use the hookshot to kill that Keese, but the timing's a little bit harder. Make sure you remember to get this chest. This is a 200 rupee chest, and there's not really much of another way to route this out. We need these rupees to get the frog song. So make sure you remember that. That's another reason why equipping hookshot feather is good, because it'll remind you, oh yeah, I need to get this right now. So something to keep in mind. Up here, you can just kind of hookshot these enemies, and it's easy peasy. Hookshot, I feel, is a very underrated combat weapon in casual play. Ooh, that blooper actually, or that cheap actually helped me. I don't think I would have cleared the gap otherwise. So this next room coming up, without Piece of Power, it's fastest to hookshot to the right here. Although you can waste a little time if the Stalfos goes up and you get caught in the damage there. That is actually an easy way to get lose some health. So another situation where if you don't have Blue Tunic, might want to be a little careful with that, depending on your health situation. But yeah. So here, just try and kill these guys as fast as you can. They're pretty random. Here, just jump over that guy. This is a pretty easy, non-precise jump. It's a sequence break that allows us to skip a lot of the dungeon. But all we need to do is just jump up. Whoops, I forgot which button my hookshot was on. Okay. So all we do is just jump up here. Of course, every time. There we go. Of course, it's the curse. I knew the moment I said it's not a precise jump that I was going to miss it at least once. So it's really simple though. You just jump up and then just kind of hold up left and mash hookshot and you're good. Coming up here is the D5 boss. D5 boss is one of the big reasons, like honestly if the D5 boss didn't work the way that he did, I would probably use Red Tunic, but I just have such a strong personal preference for doing this fight this way. But I'll cover it more in my Tunic Differences video. So for now, I'll just show you how I would do it with the Blue Tunic. So first off, jump in to avoid door lag. Well, you don't need to jump in, but you pause to avoid the boss text box, change to hookshot and sword, maybe do this for some swag. Come over to the right over here. While all this is playing out, you want to wait for the tail to pass by you right now, and then what you want to do is come to the center of the room at the bottom. Like that. Come up to the top. And there you go. You just two-cycled the boss. One thing that is kind of important to note about how to do this boss a little bit easier is you can cancel your sword using a hookshot. Like that. So notice how I just kind of roll my fingers across A and B. And then as soon as the hookshot is fully retracted, Link will, like, on the next frame, he'll slash his sword. And that's a really nice way to get some extra swings in on the boss. Like, five hitting the boss like I did at the beginning there, I don't know if that's possible without doing that. And with the Red Tunic, it is absolutely imperative that you do that. But again, more stuff to go over in the Tunic Differences video. But with that said, that is probably going to be one of the longest dungeons, one of the longest episodes, because D5 has a lot to it. So that's pretty much going to do it for this episode. And yeah, so that's going to do it for this episode of Let's Speedrun Link's Awakening. And in the next episode, we are going to be going doing a bunch of other overworld stuff, including Rooster Skip. Oh my gosh, actually, next episode might be just about as long as this, now that I'm thinking of it. I won't be covering Rooster Skip in excruciating detail because of how, like, I've already got tutorials up on the channel, and I'll just link those in the description of the video. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this episode of Let's Speedrun Link's Awakening. So thank you everyone so much for watching, and I will see you next time.